I have to talk about this, you guys. It's crazy. I know I gotta deal with my classmate, and I don't know if I'm gonna see him again. And I know that it's possible that I'm going to be triggered. Other people are going to trigger him. And I understand that one way of dealing with my challenges with him is by finding people who are similar to him. But one thing that I'm struggling with letting go and challenging myself is going to a codependent group so that I can reduce my dependency on my mother. By realizing how independent I actually am. And desiring that and sorting out my self-esteem. And I'm mentioning my classmate, and here's why. The leader triggered him. And that's a massive deal because he leads the group. And it took a while for him to trigger him, and I didn't expect it. But he did. There was another guy that I met in Galway, and he triggered him also. But because he triggered the other guy from Galway, I was sure that my classmate wouldn't be triggered. But they wouldn't trigger my classmate. But he did. So, okay. I remember wanting to print out a poem for class, for poetry class at Galway. And the receptionist happened to be my classmate. And he refused, saying that he's sure it's not for college. I don't know what he said, but I'm sure it was not for college anyway. So I thought that if I let him read the poem, that he would chill out a bit more, relax. Maybe if he enjoyed the poem, he might be a bit more considerate about printing it out photocopying it for me for class. So here's where it gets interesting. He enjoys the poem. My sister tells me to pay attention to his responses to the poem. There's shock, surprise, delight, excitement, curiosity, kind of craving, desire kind of thing going on with him, with his response. But despite that, me thinking, okay, that's a positive thing, maybe he might let me print it out. No. Then his energy changes. Let's get very fond. he looks at the poem again and he says, "This is not for college," in a calm voice. And when I say it is, he he raises his voice at me like out of nowhere. I don't like when people do that. So I did that. And then he told me that he was only going to photocopy one. And then he told me that there are other computer places that I can use to take money that I don't really have or that I need for other things, for the printouts, because it was expensive hostel I was staying in. And he told me about one place around the corner. I wasn't very happy about that, but I just like, okay. It just went like down from there. I knew I couldn't afford that really. So I decided to go to the library, pay off my fines, library fines. In order to do that, I had to top up. In order to do it, I had to put more money into the top up. And then when I did that, I photocopied the poem. I lost a lot of money, a lot of money, and it resulted in me not being able to get like the natural soap for my body that I usually get, that I need for sure. And it prevented me or reduced my chances of deciding to put on a wash there, because I was also trying to get a house. So I had to save that money. I knew what not to touch, and that was this. Anyway. So I want to reduce my dependency of another, so I'm told about, I go and I look, realizing I'm codependent, I go and look for groups around Dublin to reduce codependency, and that's where I come across a specific one. I ring them, I'm told by the girl to go to the meetings, that they're good meetings. I go, there's a guy there. Nothing wrong with there being a guy. I'm late, but there's nobody at reception. There's nobody there to help me. And because of my best at scaring people away, they don't even want to assist me. They won't even wait for me to ask them for directions or anything. I was still late getting to the meeting. So I went in, I apologized for being late. I explained why I wasn't going to come. He said it's okay. And I just mentioned how I was tempted not to come, but I should have come anyway. And I wasn't even sure if I should be there because of the type of codependent I actually am. And he said codependency can really be anything, just like he said it's like an addiction, like an attachment. I was like, okay. So he just really said in his voice, that's okay. And that's fine. But here's where it gets interesting. Towards the end of the session, he starts getting really angry and says, the session's finished now. So as you're here, and we're close to finished, you can go to another meeting. When we're not close to finish. And I swear he got very angry at me. And I apologized, and he said it was fine. I was just like, I don't want to explain myself. And he said, okay. And then he went on and said, there's one this Friday, Sunday, Monday as well. And I don't know. He just really, really wanted to bash me. And it's funny because it's supposed to be a codependent group where you're like supposed to be overcoming and healing. Yeah, and he's the leader of the group. He organizes the group, and yet he's behaving like very, I don't know, it's not right. The interesting thing is I dreamt about that person, but it just triggered a classmate. And I don't know how to explain this, but he was expecting me to be there, the codependent leader, sorry. He was expecting me to be there on the Friday, and that's when I objected, and I got worried that he'd get annoyed at me because he'd be like, oh, you try to skip meetings. No, I'm not bothering to come in. And that's when I explained to him that I feel like it's important as a part of life to enjoy life and have fun. Isn't that part of it as well? He said he supposes. Some red like having fun. I was a bit cautious because if I said I was going on a pub crawl, it's bad there, it looks bad there because they're part of calmness as well. And you don't want to say that to those people. But that's what I was doing. I don't know, it's just funny because he didn't even know me, and I was just like there, new, and he had so angry at me. But he cares that a lot that I was on it late. And straight. But then he mocks my ABS as well. After me telling him that that was one of the reasons why I didn't want to attend, meaning I was afraid to come. people would respond badly to labels. He was like, look, it's okay. Like, I don't know. He has to treat me. I don't know how to say it. It's like, hey, don't treat me this way. And then it gets more interesting because I'm really sure that I bumped into him or came across him on the footpath, and he was checking me out then. Like, really checking me out. And again, this is a leader of a codependent group. You know, I had a dream of this guy, so maybe he needs my help. I don't know. I had a dream. I'm really sure that I had met him or bumped into him a couple of times in the same area on the footpath before he showed up in the codependent meeting. He turned out to be one of the leaders and organizers of the group. And it's like, I don't know if he was trying to use what I had told him as an advantage, like to hurt me because he knows my pattern or my habits. I don't know. I just wanted to make sure that I was in the right place. And it's like, felt that I wasn't, but so there's steps. Okay, so it's kind of similar to Alcohol Anonymous, but this is codependent. So we admitted we were powerless over others, that our lives had become unmanageable. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. We made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood God. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character, humbly ask God to remove our shortcomings. Made a list of all persons we had harmed, and became willing to make amends to them all. Alright, I'm just made direct amends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Continued to take personal inventory, and then we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood God, praying only for knowledge of God's will for us and power to carry that out. Having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to other codependents and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Compliance patterns. We compromise their values and her compliance patterns of codependence compromise their values and integrity to avoid rejection, other people's anger, are very sensitive to other people's feelings and assume the same feelings, are extremely loyal, remaining in harmful situations too long, place a higher value on others' opinions and feelings and are afraid to express differing viewpoints or feelings, put aside personal interests and hobbies to do what others want, accept like the substitute for love. It was like, I think this later, like listening after me or something, like I don't know, then it won't be there. Anyway, but oh, this is a major challenge. I mean, I'm supposed to be led by spirit, not by people to tell me what to do or advise. Then how can I be led by spirit? But I feel like spirit has led me to this guy because I had a dream about him. So he's kind of important. Another trigger, less helpful, was a guy who was an American. He was kind of shy, but he was speaking to other women and telling other women, like he was flirting with other women, and like it took a while, but in the night, but he was like looking over at me, like watching me a lot, triggering again. This time, I don't think my classmate witnessed this. I don't know. I don't think he did. But this person who triggered my classmate, there was another guy at the time kissing me on the forehead and on the cheek and like kind of like tickling me and like being playful and made me laugh. I was laughing a lot. He was telling me that I was cute and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, the guy was like watching me a lot. Now, one thing he did that my classmate didn't do was he approached me, came very close to me, like out of nowhere, and then he moved away. It must have been because of my IBS. That's strange. It's like I feel kind of drawn to this person. Um, he kind of reached out to me in a way. I don't know. He said that his hostel was a very long walk away, and I responded with, "Oh, that sucks. It's bad. Must be happy." And he said yes. Maybe we should. I don't know. There was a firefighter who didn't mind my IBS. He said a lot of his family members suffer from it, so he understands. He was from Canada. I thought I had a connection with him. But, I need a lot to drink. So I'll leave this video for now, but crap. I'm dealing with my classmate through a codependent group leader who it's like extremely dominant, can be kind of controlling. It's getting like really angry. And in kind of a way I feel like he's like busting after me like if that was him on the footpath. So that's that video. It's tough.